Venkataraman, who would later be remembered for generations as Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, was no ordinary teenager. He had already awakened from within. One day, at the mere age of 16, he quietly left home. He said no goodbyes, made no promises. He simply set out in search of the truth. There was no plan, just an inner calling so powerful that not even his mother's love could hold him back. With his departure, a light went out in his mother's life. Alagamal, his mother, searched every corner of the house, waited at every road, and looked at every wandering sadhu, hoping, praying that her Ramana might be among them. In time, her pain transformed into a deep, patient longing. Soon word began to spread across South India. A young ascetic was meditating in silence in the caves of Arunachala near Tiruvannamalai. He spoke nothing, sought nothing. Yet his presence was so powerful that people walked hundreds of miles just to catch a glimpse of him. Hearing this, a ray of hope lit up in the mother's heart. She sent Venkataraman's uncle to investigate. When the uncle arrived, he saw, amidst a crowd of devotees, a young boy seated on a rock inside the cave. Eyes closed, body immersed in meditation, and a face glowing with divine light. A wave of emotion surged through him. This was their Venkataraman. But he was no longer just a boy. A silent wall of reverence surrounded him. People considered it a blessing to simply touch his feet. The uncle remained silent. He said nothing, and could say nothing. He returned home. When the mother heard the news, she did not wait a moment longer. She set out, a mother who now knew her son was alive, yet also knew he was no longer just her son. He had become a seeker, a renunciate, perhaps even one merged with a higher truth. When she reached Ramana, her heart was torn between emotions, a mother's years of sorrow, immense love, and the anticipation of being reunited with her child. But the sight before her was unbearable for any mother. Her beloved Ramana now sat like a naked ascetic. His only garment was a simple loincloth. His nails had grown long, his body bore marks from ant and insect bites. His thighs had deep wounds, perhaps signs of his intense penance. Seeing him like this, the mother broke down in tears. "My son, come home. I cannot bear to see you like this. Your condition, it tears my heart apart." But Ramana Maharshi remained absorbed in silence. No reaction, no tears, no touch. In that moment, he was simply a soul, resting in the lap of the divine. Time passed. The mother wept. Ramana remained still. Eventually, he picked up a piece of paper and wrote a few lines. Lines that were not mere words, but the very truth of self-realization. The Lord ordains the fate of every soul. What is not meant to happen will not happen, no matter how hard you try. And what is meant to happen will happen, no matter how much you try to stop it. This is certain. The mother read these words, and something shifted deep within her. She understood. Her son no longer belonged to the world. His body might still be hers, but his soul now belonged to God. Time flowed on. But within the mother, a new aspiration had awakened. She no longer longed for her son. She longed for liberation. Years later, she returned to the Ramana ashram, not as a grieving mother, but as a transformed seeker. She told her son, "My son, I wish to take my final breath in your lap. After that, do with my body what you will, even if you throw it into the thorny bushes." This was not a plea born of motherly affection. It was the final request of a spiritual aspirant. She began living at the ashram, working in the kitchen, but her mind was immersed in satsang and deep silence. Her heart had gone beyond the world. May 19th, 1922, the day she had unknowingly come back to the ashram for, finally arrived. Her body was weak, but her consciousness radiant. Ramana Maharshi sat with her in his lap, one hand on her forehead, the other over her eyes, as if blessing her soul one last time. Then Ramana said, "Let everyone eat now." This was no ordinary sentence. It was a signal that everything was now in the hands of God. Devotees observed how the expressions on the mother's face kept changing. At times deep bliss, at others intense pain, at moments a smile, and then unbearable restlessness. When someone asked, the Maharshi explained, "Mother is experiencing the karmas of all her past lives. When the soul prepares to leave the body, impressions from previous births arise like visions in the consciousness. She is now being freed from them." And then the moment came. Her face entered a state of complete peace. Her breath stopped, her body stilled. She was no longer just Ramana's mother. She had become a liberated soul, one who had merged with the divine through her son's silence. This is not merely a tale of a son and a mother. It is the journey of a soul toward God, a story of love, surrender, and liberation, where even maternal attachment ultimately bows before self-realization, where a mother no longer sees just blood ties in her son, but a gateway to the absolute, where even death becomes a celebration of freedom. And this is the story of Ramana Maharshi's mother. It teaches us that when love is free of ego, it becomes devotion, and when devotion surrenders to wisdom, it becomes the path to liberation.